Send to. There he is. Yo, where is he?
Kaka! Can you hear me?
Yours is backwards though.
It's backwards?
Well, I can't read your words there. I can see it says student arrest because I can read backwards, but I can't actually read it. It's flipped because you got the rear facing thing happening.
Oh, so should I flip the camera?
You should flip it around so you can't see yourself, but then we can see you. And mine doesn't matter because I have no words.
Are you going to be able to read the comment? Because we have one viewer. Oh, we got two. We got two viewers. So flip. You can read the comments?
I can read the comments, yeah.
All right, so I'll flip. Let me.
I can see your head.
Bam.
Wow.
How's it look?
Looks excellent.
Is it better?
Excellent. It's perfect. You're perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Can you see the background screen?
Yes, sir, I can. It says student arrest.
All right. So, yeah, this is going to be our first live.
What's up?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing this every now and then when there's a crazy story that me and Thompson come across. Thompson sent me this awesome story. Tell us a little bit about the story, Thompson.
Well, I guess a couple days ago in Lakeland, Florida, Polk County over there, young man got arrested after refusing to stand for the national anthem. He didn't get arrested because he didn't stand for the national anthem, but after the events that happened, or after he did not stand, the teacher, it escalated. Let's say it escalated to the point where the cops were called and he was arrested. So he got officially arrested for disturbing, I think it was disturbing the peace or disturbing the class and resisting without violence, which we all know, well, not all of us, but a lot of us know about that charge. Not actually resisting arrest, but still resisting arrest somehow, without violence. So that's basically in a nutshell. 11 years old. 11 years old, this kid's going to jail because he decided he didn't want to stand for an anthem that a teacher felt like she needed to enforce the policy that didn't even exist. Like, there's not even a policy for it. And
do you think this is like a MAGA situation?
No, I don't think so. I think somebody's like completely misinformed and, has a lot of patriotism.
Do you think they're Trump voters? What I'm saying. Like, we're getting this resurgence of like super old school pride that I think has always existed in America. Like the immigrants that have come here like 50, 60 years ago that have established themselves, they always start to hate the new immigrants. You know what I mean? Like, you remember that movie Gangs in New York?
Yeah.
So there's a scene where the Irish girl, the lady, is stepping off the boat and she gets hit in the face with like a rock because she's Irish. Now, fast forward now, Irish and Italians are ingrained in American culture. So you have like new, immigrants, or you have like a new set of people. Because I think African Americans too, even though they've been here for a long time, they're starting to create an observation of themselves, like demanding, equal rights for their ideas. And I think this is the situation with this student. I think it's something that was spoken at home because his mother, I think, was an activist. So I think he's learning this behavior at home. And I think the school and the substitute teacher, let's go ahead and say that too. The lady that was teaching the class is not a real teacher in the sense that she's not, supposed to be there full time. It was a substitute teacher that the student had the interaction with.
But, so we won't say that substitute teachers aren't real teachers. Let's not say that. But I hear what you're saying as far as it's not her class. She doesn't know these kids. Right. She doesn't know how to regularly deal with their personalities because everybody's special. Everybody's got their own whatever.
Well, I think too, as a teacher, if you're going to be a full-time teacher, you have to have some type of college background and a little more education and resources given to your education, so you're better able to handle students. Where I don't think that there's that much going on when we're hiring our substitutes, right? It's just as long as you don't have a criminal background and you can watch these kids.
I mean, you definitely have to have some sort of training for sure. And I don't know what level your education needs to be, but you're going to get some training before they let you take over a group of kids.
Well, I want to play this clip because at the end of this clip from this news broadcast, the journalist says it best that some of the schools have a policy of allowing the students, if they feel like they don't want to stand during the Pledge of Allegiance, they don't have to. And then other schools mandate that the students' parents actually send in a letter, and then that grants the student the opportunity not to stand or stand if he wants to, or whatever he wants to do during the Pledge of Allegiance.
Participate at all. As a student, you're not forced to. You're not supposed to be forced to participate in it. You can opt out, or you can just. But she wasn't aware of this. Again, maybe.
Right, and that's what I'm saying with the training, and also the fact that there is like a gray area. Some, like I said, absolutely. If you don't want to stand, you don't have to, but. Some schools have enlisted a policy where they want, they want your parents to write a letter. They don't want to just take it on face value. So I think that's another level of why the kid got arrested was because, I think after the whole thing happened and the dean came in or the school resource officer, they looked at the kid like he was being a nuisance instead of like, if the parents would have went in from the get maybe and wrote this letter, and I'm not saying either way is wrong or right. I'm just saying that we live in a time now where there's a lot of gray area with the way people feel, and sometimes now, like especially as a kid, you know what I mean? They want to know.
I don't know. I don't really feel like this particular situation is a gray area. He shouldn't have been forced to do it. He's not supposed to do it if he doesn't want to do it. There's no law or rule or whatever that says he has to do it. So if he's not doing it, and that's it. And the part where she's telling him to leave, also not right. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's not disturbing the class. She's perceiving him to disturb.
Well, there was. Let's play this clip real quick. There was 20 times, according to this one report.
Somebody's telling somebody to do something 20 times, even though the beginning of it, nobody did anything wrong. So you telling me to get out the class or get off the street or whatever, if in the first place I didn't do anything wrong, then I don't see the problem.
But there's a level of disrupting the class also that kind of, what he's doing is right. But if you're being a disruption to the rest of the students, isn't there some type of like if the rest of the students are down with it and you're creating a scene after we told you 20 times, aren't you kind of like being, against the rules now? You're being a little too disruptive?
No, but again, no rules were broken at all. Nobody broke any rules. He was told to leave after he did nothing wrong. So he's like, I'm not leaving. I didn't do anything wrong. Y'all are the crazy ones, so I'm not going anywhere. Like, I feel the same way. Just because somebody says that, just because a bunch of people are doing something, that doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it a correct thing, Just because.
I wish I could see you so we can have like this, because I keep staring into this thing. So pardon me if I keep looking off to the side because I'm trying. No, I agree with you, but at some point, like after 5 or 10 minutes of going back and forth, isn't it disrupting the classroom? And now, we're not able to like teach. Now, granted, maybe the teacher should have made this a learning lesson and been constructive about it. But at some point, it becomes disruptive to the class, right?
Yeah, and it was, but that's the teacher's fault. That's not the kid's fault. Again, we're talking about an 11-year-old child,
right,
versus an adult,
right?
Like, if we're talking about somebody who needs to be a bigger person, it's the older adult person, not the 11-year-old who's just standing on his morals as best he knows how.
And arresting the kid is not the right thing to like drill into the mind of a young person. That if you're going to stand up in class, guess what? You're going to go to jail now.
Story saying that somebody got arrested, like anybody got arrested. That's nuts.
Right.
Nuts. 11. Why is he in jail? Why did he get arrested?
Let's play this clip so we get all our facts straight.
Absolutely.
Not to say that the news always gets their facts straight.
They do pretty well. They do all right.
How many people we got tuned in?
We got 4. Your Mango said you smell like blue cheese, or you look like you smell like blue cheese.
Those are all truths. I do like blue cheese, so Certain times I could smell like that.
Mango says we got big bald heads.
Hairline committee. All right, well, I'm glad we have 4 people entertained.
Yeah, man.
Well, this morning, controversy over the Pledge of Allegiance and a Bay Area student's arrest for disrupting a school function.
Now, the student refused to recite the pledge, followed landed him in handcuffs. Jenna Jones is live at Lawton Chiles Middle Academy in Lakeland. And Jenna, police want to make sure it's clear officers did not arrest the student for refusing to say the pledge.
That's right. Good morning to you both. And that's because in Polk County, students are not required to stand for the pledge. In this Lakeland police report, it says instead that student was asked 20 times to leave the classroom, but he refused. Now, this all happened back on February 4th when the 6th grader chose not to stand for the pledge. Shortly after that, the Lakeland Police Department tells us the student continued to be disruptive, and then the school resource officer and the DETA students came to the classroom to calm him down. The student was asked over 20 times to leave the classroom by the DETA students, and when he refused, the school resource officer stepped in. When the student finally left the room, he caused more trouble and made threats while he was being escorted to the office. The student was arrested for disrupting the school function and resisting an officer without violence. That student was then taken to the Student Juvenile Detention Center. For those parents out there asking and wondering this morning, what's the policy at my student's school? I have checked Bay Area schools, and to not half and half at school what the policies are. Half of them say that you must have a written excuse from a parent if you do not want your child to stand, and the others leave it up to the student to decide that. Well, I have count.
So, the dean and the school resource officers show up. You know, granted, we're not there, so we're just hearing the context. We don't know who the dean and the school resource officer. We don't know how they're, you know, how creatively they can, you know, split apart this. They can do, because some people are just black and white. They show up, they see this little kid acting up. They're like, all right, get out of the class. You're disrupting. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not understanding the context of the situation. I don't know. Do you understand where I'm going with the disruption of class, right?
No, again, I hear what you're trying to say, but to me, the jumping off point, the beginning of the whole thing, he's not doing anything wrong. So I don't think he should leave the classroom. Now, is it the rule? If the teacher says you need to leave the class, then you need to leave the class. Yeah, technically she's in charge of the class. You know, if she says to leave, no matter what the reason, then leave. But if he hasn't done anything wrong, why should he leave the class? Like, I'm the type of person to be like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not going anywhere. Like, if I really feel like I'm right, I know, like, I'm supposed to leave, but I probably won't unless I'm in a situation where, all right, this is going to escalate. Again, as an adult, I know this is going to escalate. Let me just get out of this. If I'm not wanted here, I'll leave, blah, blah, blah. But 11-year-old kid that's just like looking around, everybody's against them. His friends are silent. They don't know to say anything or speak up against it for anything. You know, they're just kids, so nobody's gonna like be like, yeah, that's right, blah blah. So, you know, he's there by himself. Nobody came to like his aid. Nobody came to be like, yo, it's all good. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Now, I read in the Washington Post article that you sent me that his mother is like an activist. Was I right on that fact?
I don't know specifically, you know, like I said,
all right. Well, let's assume and jump to conclusions like my dumb ass always does. All right. If at home the kid is getting indoctrinated with like, you know, F school, this country doesn't stand for you. You know, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what if the point was to disrupt?
Oh, you're saying like if he came in with the intention, like you're saying the parent maybe told him, like when they say the pledge, don't do it. And if they say anything, then.
Right. He's a sixth grader, you know? And like I said, I read that in the article. So I'm assuming, I could be completely wrong. But what if he came with the intentions, like knowing that, oh, this is going to piss somebody off. I'm going to do this to piss somebody off. And again, I'm hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, for sure.
Out of context completely, but you could jump to this conclusion. Is that wrong? You know what I mean? To send, to feed your child with these type of things and to send him to basically test and be like, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of that going on, like in football right now, right? We're really divided with the Kaepernick situation. You're like, damned if you watch it, damned if you don't, because it, you know, what he was kneeling for is absolutely right? Clearly, the NFL's getting rid of him. It seems that way. But fast forward to the Super Bowl being in Atlanta, and it being such a black city, how are we not going to have African-American artists be here? So it's like sometimes the people that are on the like side of justice, like Martin Luther King was known as the outside agitator, right? So they would do things like boycotts and stuff to make movements and marches and stuff to bring awareness. But there was he was a rebel with a cause, right? There's the whole saying, rebel with a cause, rebel without a cause. A lot of times we're finding people nowadays that are like rebels without no cause. Like they have an identity and they think they want to stand up for something, and they get indoctrinated with these ideas. And then like now we're going to choose to incite disruptions because we know that injustice is going on. We know that this is fucked up, but we got to do our thing to fuck shit up sometimes because it is fucked up. So is he doing it because it's his right, or is he doing it because he wants to make a disruption? You understand what I'm saying? And if he is doing it to make a disruption, is that wrong?
The only reason that I would side on the fact that he is doing it on his own merit and not necessarily because his parent or somebody's putting him up to it is the time of year he did it, right? It's the middle of school. He didn't do this at the beginning of school right off the bat, get all fresh.
Bro, but it's Black History. It's February.
I'd say again?
It's February. We're in Black History Month.
It's the middle of February. It's not like February beginning. It's the middle of February. So just out of nowhere deciding to do it now. I don't think it's about the parent thing. I think it might have something to do with the fact that it's February, where he thinks in his mind, like, yo, I'm tired of standing for this thing. And maybe he just had it up to here. Because 11-year-old is young, but you are starting to think about the world and everything around it just a little bit more. So you just might have seen, it might have been the All-Star game. It might have been the Super Bowl. Something just might have set him off where he's like, listen, I'm not standing for this. Like, this is not something that I agree with. And he's allowed to do that. My whole thing is like, he's allowed to do that. If he doesn't want to get up, he doesn't have to get up. The part where they say the parents have to whatever, the parents have to send a permission slip in for me to not stand. I don't agree with that either. Like, you can't make me stand for something. Like, if I want to, I will. You know what I mean? If I look around and I say this is for me, then I will. If I don't, then I don't. Like, that's my right. Just like if somebody wants to kneel or not kneel, that's their right.
That's a crazy point you're making. Like, at what age are you allowed to take that stance? Because if there's a school that their policy is, no, we need to see a letter from your parents, and the parents are really maybe passive, and they're like, I don't want to bring attention to myself. But the kid has that, passion in him for it. Like, where does he sit? Where do they sit in the world? That's such a crazy thing. And like,
right. Hey, bro, if a fetus in the stomach has a right to live, if it theoretically has a right like they do, then a kid who's in 6th grade and 11 years old has the right to stand up for whatever he wants to stand up for.
I mean, but a fetus doesn't have the right. I mean, abortion is legal.
No, fetuses do have a right in certain states.
Oh, they do? Oh, I'm not so like deep on the pro-life. Again, an observation from a complete idiot.
There's certain things where, just like anything else in this country, there's certain states, but that's not
not Florida though. Not Florida, right?
I don't think so. Florida.
No, because they have Planned Parenthood all over the place. Yeah.
I don't know. Florida's right. All I'm saying is that I only said that to say that 11-year-old has the right to say and do pretty much whatever they feel is right. Now, again, he's only 11, so you take that with a grain of salt or whatever. But if he wants to feel like America is a super racist country, and the flag and the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem especially the third verse of the national. Is it the third verse of the national anthem, or the third verse is Star?
Yeah, no, it's a Star Spangled Banner. It was written by a French racist.
If he wants to feel a certain way about it, then he has a right to. Because honestly, he's not super wrong on a lot of that stuff. Now,
well, I mean, he's definitely going to be tainted now. I mean, you think that the school would have come up with a more creative way to teach a lesson than to throw the kid in jail? You know, like, what bigger way to say, you know, well, this is the way the system goes, right? To a sixth grader trying to stand up for himself, you know. That
I think like nothing.
Right.
I was saying, just treated him like nothing. It's just like another. It's just another instance of just total disrespect and disregard for rights. And again, it gives the lesson, or it gives the example that you're lesser as a person. Like, you don't really even all the way matter, bro. He's like, just go away. You're causing a problem, so just go away. Leave.
What do you think they meant by he was threatening?
He probably was talking shit. You know what I mean? I'm not going to deny, I'm not going to even act like he probably wasn't like, yo, I'll fuck all y'all up, or you don't touch me and I'll do this. He might have said some shit like that.
But it still doesn't. Now he's got like a criminal record as a minor. You know, this definitely might affect his schooling, because sometimes things like this can lead to like expulsion.
Oh, you're saying like now he has a record?
Oh yeah. They arrested him. They prosecuted him. I mean, I'm sure he's going to have to go to some type of juvenile court, and hopefully they throw it out, and somebody at the state level in the courthouse realizes, hey, let me make this an example and try to turn this kid around, you know what I mean? And make him understand, like, you have the right, but you have to do it in the right way. You know, you can't be mouthing off, and, you know, there has to be a better way of doing it. I think everybody failed in this story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that
again, the mouthing off part of it, you know, maybe afterwards, the part where he's threatening people, but saying what he believes, saying that he's not going to stand, he's not going to put his hand on his heart, saying why he's not going to do that, I don't consider that mouthing off. Now, you start threatening people and telling them what they're going to do, what I'm going to do to you and all that stuff, then that's obviously too far, because that's, you know, as an adult, that's the stuff you try not to do, to not escalate the situation. If you just, you know, verbally try to break down your position, then it works better than saying, I'm going to fuck y'all up, because apparently, according to the report, he made some sort of threats. So I looked at the mean, like, don't touch me, or I'll mess you up, or don't do this, or, you know, because at that point, again, he's by himself in the situation. Nobody's got his back, bro. I can't imagine an 11-year-old having that position, and nobody in the room is just like, we get it, it's all good.
The article you sent me, the substitute teacher is a Cuban American, and she was like, I came to this country from Cuba trying to leave a dictator, you know, socialist life for a free life. So if you don't like, she says this, you know, and I'm taking this from the Washington Post article. She said, I think her name is Ana something, I can't remember her last name, but the substitute teacher goes to say, if you don't like it here, then you should find another place to live, because, you know, so it's like, damn, you know, you would even think that she could be a more understanding, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because of her situation.
That's the part, right? That's absolutely the crazy part, because a lot of times we think that somebody who's possibly went through the same thing in some way, fashion, or form is going to have some sort of sympathy for you and just be like, I understand. I understand why you're not trying to.
You know, Mango's father, my stepfather's Cuban, and we have an uncle that's mad racist, bro. You know what I mean? And he came from this country. You know, I think Mango's grandfather is, you know, at least half black, right? Because you could see the similarities. And they have this thing where they like don't like black people. And a lot of the Cubans vote Republican because during the Bay of Pigs situation, you know, JFK was supposed to send back, but because he didn't and he was a Democrat, the Cubans that came over here don't really like the Democratic Party because of that. So blindly, they just choose the Republican. But at the same time, the Republicans, you know, in my opinion, show a lot of racism, or at least they're not very inclusive when it comes to people that are not white. In my eyes, it just seems that way. But yeah, so there's crazy dichotomy within that, and Florida is probably the place for this story to happen. You know what I mean?
But again, like if I say to you, this thing that I live in is doing something wrong, and your response is, well, then you should move. Then you're just, you're giving validity to what I'm saying, because you're not saying, oh, no, it isn't. No, it's not. You're totally wrong. Nobody's racist, blah, blah. You're not saying those things. You're just saying, yeah, it is. And if you don't like it, get out. It's like, no, bro, I'm just trying to, just because I love something doesn't mean I can't call it into question. It doesn't mean I can't, take it to task and, just be like, yo, bro, you're not right. Do better. Like I would tell anybody in my family. Like, if I thought somebody in my family wasn't doing what they were supposed to do, then I'm just going to tell them. I'm like, hey, that doesn't mean I want to, get out the family. He's like, oh, you don't like this family? Then leave. But nah, bro, we can still live here. Let's just get it right. That's all I'm trying to point out. Let's just get it right.
And I mean, if you take a job as a substitute, and including, I don't think this would happen to a full-time teacher, but if you take a job as a substitute to work with children, like sixth graders especially, you should be more open-minded as to helping them understand your point. Whatever crazy point that might be is better than just shunning them and then getting them arrested. You know what I mean? You're in an educational establishment. This is what you guys are supposed to do. Set the example, educate, and what we did was arrest them, regardless of whatever type of insubordination is going on. We're supposed to teach these kids,
He's 11-year-old. He's 11 years old, bro. He's 11. He's not even a teenager yet. And it's funny? This is the ironic part, bro. So he gets arrested, right, at 11 years old for not doing anything wrong. How is that going to not only reinforce how he feels about America and the system, but even take it further because they did it to a child? He's going to be 30 years old somewhere, and he's going to be like, nah, I was 11 years old, and they put my ass in jail just for speaking up. And he's right. And he's right.
Well, he's right. Hopefully he becomes the next Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, or, hopefully, this turns into a positive situation, because it's such an unfortunate thing to hear. Anytime I see a little kid getting arrested, it's like, what can we do to make this better? Because this is our future. Yeah. That's the saddest part, man.
I agree. I don't know. That's Florida for you. Just another story.
Florida. Well, that was our first Insta, huh?
That was the first one, man. Anytime there's a crazy one, I'm going to just call you. I'm going to hit you, or you hit me. And whenever we got a minute, we got to chop it up, because this stuff happens all the time, man.
Yeah, man. We're gonna become content providers. Well, that we already are, so we'll become content kings. But how many people we have in here right now?
We only have one person left. There was as much as 8.
Hey, at least we had 4 for the first one, man. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. Thompson, you're gonna hit this and leave it on the live, right?
I'm leaving on the thing. But what I was saying, that at some point we had as much as 8 at one time in here.
Okay.
And we've had people commenting and stuff the whole time, so we're good.
Hey, man, little by little, bro. I'm enjoying doing this thing. So yeah, man. Keep it tuned in, Thompson. I appreciate you, bro, and I appreciate everybody else, man. Thank you, guys. Let us know what you guys think, too. And don't forget, it's Fresh Produce Florida Media at Gmail. And make sure you guys subscribe on our YouTube channel and get us up to 1,000 subscribers so we can hit that monetization mark, man. We love you guys.
All right, man.
Peace. All right, brothers. Be safe, man.
Go get your toy.
Yep.